In the early 1980s, airlines industry was seeing a huge change in its strategy when it comes to pricing. Back then in the 1970s, all the airline industries were regulated, especially in the United States, meaning that the price were set and fixed by the government. But then the government deregulated the airline industry and allowed for companies to have their prices set based on supply and demand of the market. The dominant airline industry was American Airlines, and all of the customers, when they wanted to book an air ticket, they would accept the prices set by American Airlines, and they were known to be an airline of high service level. But with the deregulation, a new entrance in the market of airline, especially a company called People Express, started introducing air tickets considerably cheaper than American Airlines. And this have attracted the customers of American Airlines to go to People Express. Not only this, it created a new niche of customer segment where they were looking for cheaper tickets to go from point A to point B. Back then, those customers used to take the bus or used to take the train to go from point A to point B, but when they saw the tickets prices approach the prices of the train or the tram, the train, then they chose to use People Express. And so the throne of American Airlines was disrupted by People Express. And back then, the CEO of American Airlines innovated a new technique, which is later known as yield management, which is changing the ticket prices based on the time of buying of this ticket. So he said, if people, for example, buy 2 months ahead of time, they will get a discounted fare. If people will buy 1 month ahead of time, they will get this fare. If people buy 2 or 4 days before the date of the flight, it will be the normal fare. By this, he created a price segment close to what People Express, the new entrant, is offering, and managed to stabilize his market share in the market by this pricing strategy. And after some years, People Express could not compete anymore with American Airlines, and they have went eventually out of business, or rather they were sold to another company. So we see that this People Express threatened the American Airline market share in the US and was very close to making American Airlines suffer huge loss. But by simple change in the strategy of American Airlines, especially when it comes to pricing, they have managed to take their leadership back in the market. And companies started to take notice. Companies like Ford, companies like NBC and ABC, for example, Ford started offering segments of service or pricing categories for the rental cars. So that the price of 1 day rental will be different than the price of 2 day rental, different than the price of 3 days rental. And also NBC and ABC, when they placed ads in the TV, for example, they would start to set the price of the ad based on the time of the day and the prime time and the sleeping time and so on. So all of this started with the innovation that American Airlines did to face People Express. And then some more years to come in the mid-1990s, and then the internet boomed and e-commerce industry also boomed, and this have also enabled more and more techniques in pricing and revenue management. And now almost all companies use a sort of technique or a sort of strategy when it comes to pricing and revenue management for two things: to maximize the revenue and the profit coming out of the business, and the second thing is to segment the customer and provide a fair pricing to every segment of customers, because customers' priorities are different, and some customers may say, I want to book a ticket or an airline ticket earlier because I want to have a deeper discount, I can plan ahead of time. And another customer may say, no, I prefer to book 1 week ahead of time and condition that I catch my flight and I go to my appointment on time. So there are different priorities to customers, and companies being able to capture these different priorities and capture these different segments is also a fair representation of the company to the customers. And now we see all kinds of plans and segmentation in e-commerce or in physical retail. For example, if we want to subscribe to a service, we have those subscription plans, and it can offer you a monthly plan of this rate and an annual plan on this rate. For example, you go to the supermarket and you have normal pricing or list price products, and then you have buy one get one kind of promotions, and then you have buy two and get the third free, which is a kind of a volume discount sort of thing. All these different techniques of pricing and segmentation have two goals in mind: to maximize the revenue or maximize the profit, and to put a fair pricing to the customers. Because if a company only focuses on one pricing strategy for all of its customers, that means that this company is alienating different segments of customer who would have bought the products or the items of this company if there was a fair representation of their needs through pricing. And as you see in this course, it's mainly focused on pricing and revenue management, and I will discuss with you the techniques that companies follow to achieve those two goals.